Oh breeze, won't you sing this song to my friend? This blood-drenched song to my friend.
The role of Aga Ali in Meher Baba's work, Part 1. In this two-part presentation, I will outline a series of historical events related to the unique relationship between Meher Baba and a 13-year-old Muslim boy from Bombay named Syed Ali Haji Muhammad. Syed Ali was later nicknamed Aga Ali, or the Great Ali, by Meher Baba. Aga Ali was a student in the Maharashtra school and later in the Prem Ashram at Meherabad from 1927 until 1929. This period and the development of his close spiritual relationship with Meher Baba and his ensuing adventures is covered in some detail in Ramju Abdullah's wonderful book, Sobs and Throbs. What is less known is Ali's continued connection with Meher Baba's work after the closing of the schools at Meherabad. Subsequent to the school closings, Ali traveled with Meher Baba during Baba's second and third trips to Persia, and then he accompanied Baba and two of the men Mandali, Rustam and Chanji, on Baba's first trip to Europe and subsequently to the United States. After returning from his trip to the West with Ali, Baba sent Ali to Persia with one of the Mandali for a short trip, and he then asked Ali to return to Bombay to live with his father. Although Ali returned to see Baba on two separate occasions after this, after his 1935 meeting with Baba, there is no record of Ali ever having contacted Meher Baba again. Although the body of this presentation will focus on Aga Ali and on his relationship with Meher Baba, my primary focus is on the subtext of this relationship and on the role that Aga Ali played in Meher Baba's universal work. Understanding the work and intentions of any historical figure requires that we enter into the worldview of that individual. This is particularly true of Meher Baba. In this sense, it is significant that Meher Baba repeatedly asserted that his activities at Meherabad with Ali and the other boys at the Meher and Prem ashrams had special significance in relation to his internal spiritual work. For example, in July of 1927, Baba said, "My work at Meherabad is like digging numerous canals and placing as many people as possible on the banks, so that, when the spiritual flood is let loose, they may benefit by having the divine overflow within their reach." Even so, Meher Baba has also said, "It is absolutely impossible for an ordinary man to understand my work. With my universal mind, I work on an unlimited scale for the universe. To understand what I do is not within the bounds of human intellect." This presentation, then, is an historical, theological analysis of Meher Baba's work with Aga Ali. My primary sources of reference have been Lord Meher, the online edition, Ramju Abdullah's small book Sobs and Throbs, and an interview with Farshid Namaranian. Two of Farshid's uncles were students at the Prem Ashram, and he enjoyed a lifelong close personal relationship with Esfandiar Vesali, who also was a student in the Prem Ashram. Although it is impossible to fully understand Meher Baba's universal work, it is possible to discern patterns of intention that emerge from time to time in Meher Baba's activities. These patterns often seem to resonate with a symbolic significance that increases in meaning the more one ponders them. In this sense, one can see a clear pattern of meaning underlying Meher Baba's work with Ali and the other boys in the Meher and Prem Ashram schools that indicates his preparation of Meherabad, and especially his samadhi, as a place of world pilgrimage, and also, directly in relation to Ali, the development of internal links between himself, Meherabad, and his work of gathering disciples from Europe and America. The Meher Ashram School was officially opened on May 1st, 1927. Of the ashram school, Meher Baba said, "This school is not like the schools you will find in the world. Such worldly institutions of learning are being run by the government, municipality, or charitable trusts. The object of the Meher Ashram is quite different. It is for spiritual education." Soon after the opening of the school, Baba initiated a strange construction project on Meherabad Hill. In Lord Meher we learn that, in June 1927, Baba had a cabin built for himself on Meherabad Hill out of bamboo matting, a wood frame, a tin sheet roof, a door, and a window on the east side. In the last week of July, Baba ordered a pit to be dug in the floor of this small cabin, 6 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 6 feet deep. But at the same time, he did not disclose its purpose. The pit was made permanent with stone and masonry work. Small steps were built leading down into the pit, which was then covered by wooden planks. In front of the window on the eastern side, a platform was built for the students and visitors to sit on while Baba discoursed. From Tuesday, 16 August 1927, Baba began staying in this cabin-like crypt, which the Mandali would refer to as the Khada, ditch or pit room. Baba announced that he was planning to spend a number of months in seclusion there. As time went on, the Meher and Prem Ashram boys would flock around Baba and sit with him in the small room adjacent this strange pit. It wasn't until years later that Baba revealed that this unusual meeting place was to become the site of our much-beloved samadhi, his future tomb shrine. The symbolic significance of these young ones so long ago flocking around Baba at this same site where now lovers from across the globe flock to be with him is not difficult to discern. The first mention of Aga Ali in Lord Meher is as follows. On 21 November 1927, a Muslim boy of about 13 years old named Syed Ali Haji Muhammad, later nicknamed Aga Ali, was brought to Meherabad by his father, but Baba refused to admit him. Baba did not want the boy in the school, but after the father entreated Baba to keep the boy, Baba agreed. There was a hidden reason for Baba's reluctance, which was brought out later. This hidden reason seems to have been that Baba knew the trouble that Ali's father was going to bring to the ashram. The ongoing struggle between Ali and his father is central to much of the narrative of the book Sobs and Throbs. At first, Ali's father entreated Baba to enroll Ali in the Maharashtra school, but subsequently, due to pressures from the Persian Muslim community in Bombay, who Baba and Ramju refer to as Moguls, Ali's father repeatedly returned to fetch Ali and bring him back to Bombay. Sobs and Throbs documents this ongoing tug-of-war in some detail, with Ali more than once escaping and returning to Meherabad. It seems that Aga Ali's father liked Baba and the ashram when he was there, signing pledges stating that he would allow Ali to stay. However, when Ali's father returned home, friends and neighbors from the Persian Muslim community in Bombay would taunt him into returning to Meherabad and bringing the heartsick boy back home with him. One of the reasons that Ali's father was receiving so much pressure from the community was because of rumors being spread that Meher Baba was causing the boys at the school to go insane. These reports were due to the explosion of love among the boys who were receiving intense spiritual training directly from Meher Baba, along with their conventional school curriculum. Baba spent hours with the boys, lovingly seeing to their needs and giving them discourses on spiritual topics. As Lord Meher reports, the discourses had a profound effect on Aga Ali. He would write in his notebooks, "Meher Baba is my master, Aga Ali, the son of Meher Baba. This book belongs to the humble slave of Sri Sadguru Meher Baba." The boy expressed his heart's message in pebbles on the ground, and he had a special fondness for collecting things belonging to Baba and used by him. He would save Baba's fingernails, his hair, and the cotton Baba would put in his ears at night. Years later, another of the boys from the Prem Ashram, known as Chota Baba, remembered Aga Ali. He says, "Another boy, Aga Ali, was one of the master's favorites in the Prem Ashram, and he too had been having glimpses of Baba's divinity. Ali's spiritual nature was most remarkable for someone so young. His love for Baba was admirable and truly inspiring. The Mandali, however, noticed that from the second week of January 1928, Baba began keeping aloof from Ali, who desired only to stay near Baba. If Baba called him, he would send Ali back after only a moment. Ali began feeling extremely restless due to this treatment, and was overcome with anxiety. Eventually, however, as we read in Lord Meher, Baba touched Ali's chest with his own head 2 or 3 times. Immediately, Ali became quiet and his restlessness subsided. He seemed to be asleep. After 15 minutes, Baba instructed Rao Sahib to try to rouse him, but Ali did not open his eyes or stir. When his eyelids were lifted, his pupils appeared lifeless. He was questioned, but he did not respond. Baba himself shook him. but there was no response. Keeping his head on his heart, Baba tried to listen to his heartbeats. Sometime later, on a sign from Baba, Rao Sahib asked Ali, "How do you feel?" Ali replied in a barely audible whisper, as if speaking from far, far away, "Happy." Rao Sahib asked, "What do you see?" "Baba," he replied. "Where?" "Everywhere." During this same period, many of the boys, not just Ali, were overcome with love and would show this in various ways, weeping uncontrollably, running here and there, and complaining of a burning fire in the chest or belly. Shahryar Meherabadpur first heard about Meher Baba from Baba's disciple Baidul when he visited Persia in order to bring boys to the Meher Ashram school. Shahryar eventually came to Meherabad and worked at the ashram, and he was assigned to take care of one of the boys named Ali Akbar. This is not Alaba, who lived at Meherazad, but another Ali Akbar. This boy was also experiencing this burning. Shahryar would follow him when, in response to the internal burning that he was experiencing, Ali Akbar would run around the ashram uncontrollably. Farshid Namaranian, Shahryar's nephew, describes what his uncle Shahryar told him about this.
Baba specifically assigned him to be with Ali, because Ali sometimes would act like a mast, and he would run off, with Baba's fire and love in his heart, and he would run all Meherabad. So Ali would run on Meherabad Hill, all over the place. He would run and run, and Shahryar would run after him. And at some places, Ali would say, "Shahryar, I am burning, I am burning, I am burning." And then he would find a puddle of water. This is what Shahryar was telling me. He would find a puddle of water and put his tummy in that water. And the water would start basically evaporating. It was so hot, his tummy. Externally, the love within would have, made him so hot that even the water would act like that.
It seems that reports of experiences such as those of Ali Akbar and Aga Ali eventually made their way to the Muslim community in Bombay, providing a cause for concern among many, including Aga Ali's father. The details of the give and take between the ashram authorities and Ali's father are too complex to detail here, but suffice it to say that Ali's first departure back to Bombay occurred in February of 1928. Sometime in early 1928, Baba had enlisted Ali Sr.'s brother, Rustam Irani, to make a trip to England to try to recruit European boys for the Meher Ashram. These plans were put on hold when Ali was taken away, and Baba threatened to close down the school if Ali did not return. Baba is reported to have said, "If Ali goes, everything goes. I will come out of seclusion and close the school." After 6 days, however, Ali escaped from his father's home in Bombay and returned to the school. Ali's father followed him there and signed a fresh agreement allowing Ali to stay in the school. After Ali's return, Baba again brought up the topic of Rustam going to England. Rustam sailed from Bombay on March 10, 1928. Soon after Rustam left for the West, the first of Meher Baba's Mandali to do so, Baba commented with some cryptic remarks on the burning that some of the boys had been experiencing. As Ramju reports in Sobs and Throbs, Baba said, "These sparks of love that have been sprinkled can never be put out. Some kindling through personal effort is necessary. Once kindled sufficiently, instead of dying out, it will go on increasing automatically without even thinking about it, and to such a pitch that one affected with it will desire nothing save the cooling down of its heat. To cool this heat or fire means to render the person unconscious, and this is the intermediate state between heat and light. No more sufferings and agonies then. That is what is going to be done in the due course of time. Let us see what comes of this message to the West, i.e. Rustam's trip. Of course, no more spark sprinkling now. Turning the eyes of the newcomers, giving them the light of love, without making them pass through the heat of love simultaneously with the old ones, at the time of giving the final touch through the link of a boy amongst these little lovers. Ali is the link, through whom the newcomers will also get the light of love. Although Baba's remarks here are cryptic, he seems to be saying that the newcomers, perhaps the Westerners that Rustam was contacting, will not have to suffer the same heat of love because somehow Ali, whom Baba calls the link, will be of help. As he says, Ali is the link through whom newcomers will also get the light of love. Rustam Irani's journey to England was mainly for the purpose of recruiting boys for the Meher school. Rustam brought with him a supply of biographical booklets about Meher Baba and the Meher, and he was told to contact people about Baba and attempt to enroll some European boys into the Meher school. When giving Rustam instructions, Baba said, "You may go to as many cricket and football matches as you like. You can go to the cinema. Just accept all the invitations that come your way and speak about me to those you meet. Then my work will be done." Through this method, Rustam met one man who became instrumental in Meher Baba's early work in the West. As Lord Meher reports, one individual who met Rustam in London and assisted him in searching for suitable pupils for the school was Meredith Starr, whom Rustam met at an afternoon tea party he had been invited to. Meredith had been interested in spirituality and Eastern mysticism for many years, and when he saw someone from India in attendance, he went over and spoke with him. Rustam, as instructed, told him about Baba. Through Meredith Starr, Rustam also met another man, the British mystical poet John Caldwell Johnston, who claimed to have insight into Rustam's true purpose in traveling to England. Rustam's meeting with Caldwell Johnston, as reported in Sobs and Throbs and reproduced in Lord Meher, was eventful. After the usual formalities were over, the gentleman dimmed the light and began to talk as if he were exchanging messages on a wireless apparatus, although he had nothing of the sort about him. In a low and impressive tone, Johnston began to thrill his already stupefied listener with the following words: "I see the Master. It's 2 o'clock in the morning in India now. Other Eastern masters of Baba's stage are not easily accessible and don't like to be disturbed at such an hour, but he seems to be of a very loving nature. I have just told the Master that blank will not allow the boys to be taken to India, but the Master replied there is no power on earth that can come in his way. He is not very keen about getting the boys. He wants to lay the spiritual cable between the East and the West. Up to now, the East is looked after by Eastern masters and the West by Western masters. He wants to join both these sections, and that is the reason why you, Rustam, were sent here. You are carrying with you, without your knowledge, a sort of wireless radio connection, and it affects all those whom you meet." Although Rustam was unsuccessful in enrolling any European boys into the Meher ashram, he did garner some interest near the end of his trip. When he returned to Meherabad, he received permission from Baba to send for the boys who had shown interest, and to have them be accompanied by Meredith Starr at Baba's expense. Baba received a telegram on Tuesday, June 12, 1928, from Meredith Starr, informing Baba that he and his fiancée and her sister had departed for India, but without the boys. The British government had refused to allow the boys to leave the country. When speaking to the Mandali about the party's expected arrival, Baba commented, "It's a pity that adults are coming from England instead of boys. Starr is a little in the spiritual line, but his master, Johnston, is much advanced, the only one in Europe of his kind." Meredith Starr and party arrived in Toka at noon on Saturday, June 30th, 1928. Meredith Starr proved to be something of an egoist with a history of dabbling in the occult. Although occasionally troublesome, Baba knew that he would be useful in establishing his work in the West, so he allowed him to stay at Toka for some time when the school was located there. Later, when the school shifted back to Meherabad, Starr and party became the first of many Westerners to stay at Akbar Press in Ahmednagar while visiting Meherabad. After his presence there became more and more troublesome, Baba eventually sent Starr back to England, telling him, "Your presence in England is most desirable, essential at this time, because you have much work to do for me there." On other occasions, Baba told him, "The time of my manifestation all over the world is very near. You will play an important part in that universal game of mine. And I will work through you in the West. You will work for me directly." Although he had hoped to stay with Baba permanently in India, Meredith Starr and party departed for England on January 2nd, 1929. Soon after Starr's departure, Baba began dropping hints that he planned to close down the Meherashram school, beginning to dismantle the school affairs by the 12th of January.
Oh, breeze, won't you sing this song to my friend? This blood-drenched song to my